What's up, guys? How y'all doing? I've returned once again for another video, and this time with 2024 Supercross just around the corner, I'm going to be doing a video regarding one of the top superstars and top contenders for the 2024 Supercross title. And this banner down here is going to say a lot. Here it is. Will Eli Tomac be ready for 2024 Supercross? And of course, we all know what happened in 2023. It looked like a virtual lock for Eli Tomac, but unfortunately, it ended in tragedy when he had ruptured his Achilles over one of the jumps. And as a result, Sexton found himself as the eventual champion. Now, obviously, we are on the tail end of Eli Tomac's career. Nobody's going to dispute that, especially me. Now, the one thing that I'm the most concerned about is with an injury like this, obviously an Achilles tendon that does take up to a year to recover. And obviously, Eli wasn't going to be ready for motocross and certainly not super motocross. But maybe he might try and get warm. Maybe he might try to keep himself a little warm by going World Supercross. I don't know. But, hey, you never know. Maybe he could get some seat time on the new Yamaha. But what I'm mostly anyway, to finish up my point, what I was most concerned about is if Eli Tomac will respond back from this kind of injury. And while logic says that he should, I mean, of course, because he's Eli Tomac, for crying out loud. But there have been some cases, when I was growing up, there have been some cases where guys who got hurt, that injury would pretty much be the end of their careers, and they just never really responded. And I have a couple of examples on the docket that I vividly remember. And the first one here, Ezra Lusk. Because if you recall, in 1999, Ezra Lusk rode for Team Honda, and he won 5 races in that season and finished second in the title chase behind Jeremy McGrath. And Lusk had the points lead in the first quarter of the season. And in fact, after taking two of the first straight races to begin the season, Lusk suffered a 16th at Bank One Ballpark in Phoenix, and his season took turns for the worst after that. He had a 16th and a 12th. Then he came back to win, or 12th at Seattle, and then he came back to win Anaheim 2. And then he never won another race until New Orleans, like towards the end of the season. So you add all that up, that was 3 wins in the first 5 races for Ezra Lusk. But because of bad luck and crashes and whatnot, Lusk's chances for the title, for the 1999 Supercross title, went up in flames almost immediately. Do you see what I'm getting at here? And obviously, Lusk was in contention for the 99 motocross title after he swept the motos at Southwick. But unfortunately, a bad day at Budds Creek ultimately led to his undoing to win a title. So that's the kind of thing that I'm a little bit concerned about with Eli Tomac. The only guy who made it work after an injury was Ricky Carmichael. Remember when he hurt his knee and he was out of Supercross 2004? And he came back to sweep the 2004 Motocross Championship. And then he came back to win every title in 2005 on a Suzuki. That's the World Supercross title, the AMA Supercross title, the 250 Motocross Championship. Then he won the Motocross des Nations. He won the U.S. Open. He won everything, really, in 2005 alone. And it was really tough to beat him. Whereas in contrast with the guy that you're seeing here, Ezra Lusk, an injury did not work out for him, because after 5 wins in 1999, Ezra Lusk got hurt in the first practice session of the 2000 Supercross season, and his season was pretty much a wipeout. He did not compete in a Supercross in 2000, and his motocross season was kind of meh. And the fact that Lusk just could not stay away from bad luck pretty much sent his career down the toilet. Save for winning the 2003 Phoenix Supercross for Team Kawasaki. And that was Lusk's first win in almost 4 years. So, there have been some cases, and I just shared one of them with Ezra Lusk. And I got another guy that I'm going to get to in just a little bit. But just a reminder, this guy here, Ezra Lusk, could have been a champion if injuries didn't stand in his way. Now, I will say, though, that Ezra Lusk did have a good career, but it was just plagued with all kinds of bad luck, it seemed like, after he went to Team Honda in 1998. Because I remember in 98, when Lusk got a 16th at LA, then he won the next 2 races, and then went through a string of bad luck and moments of, what the heck was that? I mean, because Lusk was a guy who can run up front, who can be a title contender, but because he just couldn't stay away from bad luck or injuries, his career probably didn't turn out the way I'm sure he would have liked it to. So, one case in point. Second case in point is this guy here I'm going to show you. Damon Huffman. Because in 1997, Damon Huffman won the Atlanta Supercross, and a lot of people thought that, and I think Damon as well, thought that was going to launch his career in the premier class after 2 125 West titles in 94 and 95. And unfortunately for Huffman, injuries kind of stood in his way as well. Because, he was in second in the 96 250 series, right behind Jeremy McGrath as a 250 rookie, along with Ryan Hughes. But Huffman, he was able to be able to challenge McGrath at times. Who could forget Seattle 96 when he and Huffman battled it out until Huffman stalled his bike with 3 laps to go, and Jeremy McGrath went on to 4 wins in a row. And then he would extend that win streak to 13. But of course, case in point, in 1997, Huffman won the Atlanta Supercross, as I pointed out earlier. But unfortunately, Huffman broke his foot the following week. And as a result, Huffman couldn't take advantage of the momentum. And he was out until Dallas. And then he got hurt there again after the first turn. And after that, it seemed like Damon Huffman's speed was pretty much a wash, He was fast one week, and then the next week he was like, what the heck did you just do? But Damon Huffman had a hard time getting up to pace, as Davey Coombs once said when he was the pit reporter. But that's another example. The only time Damon Huffman won a race after that was the 98 U.S. Open, where he went 2-2 on his Kawasaki. So case in point, Damon Huffman also was in the contention for the 2004 World Supercross GP title, but unfortunately he twisted his ankle at Atlanta, and his season just began to crumble to pieces. And as a result, Heath Voss took that title. And that was probably Huffman's last chance for a title. After that, because in 2005, Damon Huffman was kind of nowhere. And I don't think Huffman was really the same after that. Because, I mean, he revitalized his career when he went to Canada in 2003 for Blackfoot Honda. And he even won some motos and a couple of overalls in 2003. Then he came back to win the Riverglade National in 2004. But I don't think Huffman was really the same after that title. But that was definitely after that title chase ended in tragedy for Damon Huffman. So you never really know if the same thing is going to happen to Eli Tomac. You know, logic says that those days are probably over, but then again, you never know. And I mean, you look at what took Kevin Windham out of the series in 2002 at Atlanta when he attempted to quadruple twice through a rhythm section, and that almost led to his retirement. He was definitely out for the season for Suzuki, but Kevin was burned out after that. He was getting lapped. He just wasn't himself. So that's the thing. So case in point, as far as Damon Huffman is concerned, Huffman was a guy who can win races, who can battle with McGrath, who can battle with the likes of guys like McGrath and Carmichael. But it just seemed like age kind of caught up to him, and sometimes injuries did play a part in that. But honestly, I think Damon Huffman was never really the same after that 2004 World Supercross title chase ended in tragedy for him. And I could kind of see it too, because I remember watching the 2004 Canadian Motocross series. Of course, it's on YouTube right now. You can also see that on Guaranteed MX's channel. And I think that's run by Ryan Gauld. So Gauldy shout out. So, hey, Gauldy shout out. So, you know, looking back on those races, that was when I was in high school. And watching those races on speed, that kind of told me a lot, you know. So obviously, I feel like I've made my point, and there's probably other guys that you know of that had their careers ended by an injury or had their career hampered by an injury, and eventually just kind of led them to not being the guy that they thought that they would be. And who could also forget when Damon Bradshaw was going to win the 92 Supercross title, but he hurt his knee, and Jeff Stanton ended up winning the final race at LA. Bradshaw finished 5th. No one could believe nobody could believe it. So, you know, there's always that possibility. But as of right now, do I think Eli Tomac's going to be ready for 2024 Supercross? Yes. But what I'm mostly concerned about is that I hope that injury does not hamper his progress, because you never know if Eli Tomac is going to commit to motocross and supermotocross, because that's what he did last season before he hurt his Achilles. So obviously we're going to have to wait and see. So while I say that Eli will be ready for Supercross 24, there's always a possibility that that may end up hampering him a lot more than maybe it should. Case in point with guys like Ezra Lusk and Damon Huffman that I talked about earlier. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And remember, subscribe. I will catch you all soon. I will try to keep the videos coming up at a little more consistent pace. But anyway, guys, like I said, subscribe. I'll catch you all later. So long, folks.